What you're about to hear are the tones of the Artist Tweed Tone 12A amplifier in the context of a mix without any overdrives, without any distortion pedals, just the tones of the amp mic'd up with a Shure SM57 and a Sennheiser E906. Before we get into it, a huge thank you to Artist Guitars in Australia for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. If you want to check this out, I'll link it down below and you can check out their shops located in different areas around the world. All right, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the front panel up close. So our volume control controls not only the output volume, but the further you turn it past about midday, the more saturated it's going to get. And this is one of the best things about it. If you haven't played an amp like this before, use the volume control on your guitar to turn down and it will clean up beautifully, even with the volume cranked like this. It's really cool. The presence control not only adds more high frequencies, but it also adds an upper mid frequency that will help you cut the mix. I found this to be especially helpful for playing on the neck humbucker pickup when the volume's cranked, and we'll showcase that a little bit later in the video, but it's a really musical control. While this is a very simple amplifier, we actually get two unique channels. We get an NFD and normal channel over here. So the NFD channel is brighter and more chimey, and it limits the negative feedback of the amplifier. And I think most people will probably prefer that channel over the normal, unless you're going for a rounder, fuller sound, or you've got a high output humbucker on your guitar, for example, or whatever type of pickup it is, then you might prefer the normal, but we'll test out both in this video. Additionally, there's also a voicing switch over here which goes between bright and normal. So normal still sounds great. If you go over to bright, it brings up the high end and the upper mids, giving you a great sound, especially if you're playing humbuckers or if you want to cut through the mix. It just has that frequency that really works well. In the back of the amplifier, we get a 12-inch Celestion 7080. It's a great sounding speaker with this particular amplifier, and we don't get a completely closed back, which is awesome. This kind of reminds me of how some of those more expensive boutique amps are kind of made. So very cool. When it comes to the valve or tube configuration, we get a 12AX7 in the preamp, and guess what? We get a 6L6 in the output section, not a V6, we get a 6L6, which is similar to what you might find in much larger amplifiers. And this can lead to getting a little bit more headroom, especially if you're running pedals. Weight-wise, this amplifier is completely manageable at 14.6 kilograms, and I'll put the conversion on screen. At the time of filming in Australia, this comes in at 449 Australian dollars. 449 bucks. That's pretty cool, considering it's a Class A amplifier with a 12-inch speaker, and it's very musical once you start to dial it up, and I'm going to show you that right now. So if you want to check this out, I'll link it down below. I'll put some global links down there, so if you live outside of Australia, you can still get your hands on one of these, hopefully if they're in stock. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with some Stratocaster tones, starting on the NFD channel. Now the cool thing is with this tone, it's kind of clean, but it's just off clean, and using a little bit of analog delay in the front end really gave me a great Strat tone, especially on the neck pickup. Let's have a listen. I've cranked up the volume, backed off the presence, turned off the analog delay. Have a listen to this classic rock style rhythm tone on the bridge pickup of my Telecaster. And now with the volume cranked up on the amplifier, we're going to test out the dynamics of the amp just by using the volume control on my guitar. So we're going to start with it down. I'll incrementally turn it up and you get a good sense of how dynamic it is just by using your volume control. Up next, I'm going to showcase the difference between the NFD and the normal channel on the amplifier, and we're also going to test it now with my pedal board. So I'm going to turn on some analog delay, then an overdrive, and then a clean boost. Take a listen to this. This is with the amp set completely clean. If you're looking for a great pedal platform, this amplifier is a no-brainer and it got far louder than I was expecting. All right, let's wrap this video up. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the Artist Tweed Tone 12A amplifier after testing it with a selection of guitars. So irrespective of if you play a Strat, Telecaster, Humbucker, Flying V, whatever the case may be, you're going to get a great tone out of this amplifier. And the reason why is that NFD switch selection and channel selection allows you to get a really great neck pickup tone that still has lots of clarity and snap on the note. Sometimes with amplifiers like this, if you just crank the volume all the way up, you lose all your clarity, but not on this. Pair that with the bright switch and the presence control and you have more than enough top end to get a really great neck pickup tone at higher volumes. I really love the tones I was able to get out of the neck pickup on my Stratocaster plugged into the normal channel with just a little bit of analog delay. And then if you choose to, you can run an overdrive into it and it's going to sound great. That normal channel handles pedals beautifully, but you can use pedals on either channel. I think the beauty of this amplifier is it will appeal to people who want to play at bedroom volume. You can just set up a nice clean tone, run some effects, or just play clean, whatever the case may be, and you'll get a great sound out of it at bedroom levels. But once you start winding it up and going for that tube saturation, it really gets quite loud. And I think at a small venue or a small gig, this would be more than enough to keep up with a drummer in those scenarios. So if you've got an Artist Tweed Tone 20 or any other amplifier that's maybe 20 watts or 30 watts and it's too loud, that's where a little amplifier like this might be the right solution for that particular scenario. I think the beauty of this amp is its footprint, its size and weight, and it's still loaded with a 12-inch speaker. They didn't compromise by putting a 10-inch or an 8-inch in there. So I love the fact this has a full-blown 12-inch speaker. All right, now let's talk about the trade-offs, because there's really only two that I can think of. One, there's no built-in reverb like you would find on the Artist Tweed Tone 20R. So if that's important to you, get the Artist Tweed Tone 20. And secondly, there's no effects loop. So if you want to run reverb, everything has to go through the front end. But on a small Tweed amplifier, there's not many that have an effects loop, but it's definitely worth mentioning. At the end of the day, whether you play blues, classic rock, southern rock, whatever the case may be, you can make this amplifier work just by cranking up the volume and then working the volume control on your guitar. Stay tuned. In the future, I'll probably do a comparison between the Artist Tweed Tone 12 and the 20 on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, check it out using the links below. Thanks again. Catch you soon. See ya.